Waving your camera. You have to go out this way.
Anyway, you explain to me how they're getting away with secret.
Would you take
Yep,
it with you
secret
now?
working group, that's what it was.
Mr. Guzman?
Yes, sir.
When we leave, the door's gonna be locked.
Oh, as people are leaving, I'll be able to get back in and get my camera. Or, sir, would you bring my camera out after the meeting? Sure. Thank you very much. No problem, Mr. Zip.
Okay.
No one to grab that door. Can't you throw right in and grab that door?
Anybody has to leave, go out this one from here on.
Okay. All right, so the motion on the table is seconded.
You want to reread the motion or what do you
The applicant, that we, Luck approved the change of use, and that the applicant has agreed to return to show the landscape and bike rack placement plan. Okay?
Okay. Have we called the question? Okay, which end we're gonna start at?
Oh, my.
We'll start with yours.
Yes.
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 Unanimous? Good, thank you. Okay, contact me, I'll give you the date, we'll make the arrangements. Thank you. Good. Okay, we have, which one? Mark Hawk. Yeah, it's here. They've shifted this one a few times. This one, thank you.
There's a project description for this. That's it right over here.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's everything hard. It's only a section this much.
what you need, time-wise?
I'll be out in about 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay, we'll give you 10.
Good evening, Ryan Shea with Festival Development, I'm the managing partners for the property at 4550 Overland Boulevard. We're here tonight to talk about our planned renovation of the project and talk about all the different design features. We're here to talk about kind of the history of the project, kind of the vision we see for it going forward, and the entitlements that we're going to be seeking, and hopefully we hope to gain your support and a letter of recommendation to the Linwood Council. So a little bit, before I start on the project, I'd like to just introduce our team, and I'll ask a few members of our team to speak on different parts of the project. But again, my name is Ryan, I'm with the property owner, with the project owners and developers. I've got Neil Brower, our land use attorney, I've got Mark Hogg and Richard Dell, Red Architects. Dinah Woods here, who runs operations for the management of the center right now, and Matthew May, who heads up our marketing and merchandising leases for the project. And so depending on what kind of questions we have, I may lean on different members of the team for that.
Excuse me, and you're with who? Excuse me, you're
I'm with Festival, we're the managing partners, so we're the owners and developers of the project. So a little bit of background, we bought the project about a year ago. Obviously, we're in the business, and a little background of who we are. We're shopping center owners, developers, investors. We're based in Los Angeles. We've been in the shopping center business for 30 years. I've been with Festival for 8 years, and the founding principals are still actively managing the company. We're based in Los Angeles. Almost our entire portfolio is in LA and Orange County. We're long-term owners, and we plan to be long-term owners of this project. When this opportunity was presented to us, we saw an opportunity to bring it up to its full potential. Due to the ownership structure of this site, I don't know if you knew this, but for a long time, there was a different owner between the land and the buildings for a long time. I think it was built in 1960. And as is the case with a lot of centers that you find throughout the valley, that there's a different owner for the building versus the land. As the term runs out on those kind of structures, unfortunately, the owner of the building, it's not financially feasible for them to reinvest the property. So what you had here is just a lot of deferred maintenance, a center that was far below the potential. Mark and Richard during their presentation will show you some photos of the existing condition. You've probably driven by it, but I think everybody would agree it's far from its full potential. It's long overdue for renovation and facelift. So we bought the project a year ago, and since then we've been kind of getting our arms around the operations of the center and starting our planning and talking to the existing tenants and talking to additional tenants that are interested in coming into the project. And we're starting our formal process for the approvals for renovation of the property. Our plan is to keep what's currently there today is a mix of restaurants, retail shops, and service shops, and we plan to keep it that way. Although we're going to be moving some walls around and kind of, we may, depending on how our leasing strategy comes down, be shifting some uses around. It's primarily staying the same use that it is today, which is going to be a collection of restaurants, retail shops, service shops. We are not adding any square footage. In fact, we're reducing it by a slight bit. Although this was initially presented to us a year ago as an opportunity to do a mixed-use project here, what we see elsewhere throughout the greater Los Angeles area. We're not going that route. We've always thought that the highest and best use was let's keep this a shopping center, let's make it something great. And so, as I said, we're not increasing the square footage. There's existing parking on site. We're planning to keep the parking that's there. There's existing cross access with the Gelsons. And basically the whole functionality of the way the center operates today, we plan on keeping it that way. We're just trying to bring it up to a current standard, something that's vibrant, and something the community will be really proud of. So we're here today to ask for your support, and I'm going to turn it over to Richards and talk about some of the design features and can answer more specific questions you have on materials, landscape, and anything else related to design.
Thank you, Ryan. Good evening, members of the committee. I think you're all pretty well associated with the shopping center as it is now. It's been in dire straits. It really needs an upgrade, and that's precisely what Festival is doing. And what we've done is that we've tried to capture an urban environment, more pedestrian friendly. As you know, if you've been to that site, you can't walk from the sidewalk into the property, you have to go through the parking lot. We've opened up the actual walkway right here, so now we have ADA access. We've provided a minimum amount of dining outside to soften that. And to begin with, on the building itself in the corner, as you can see, we try to capture more glazing along that. So if you look at the building now along Ventura Boulevard, there's about 8 feet of glass. We're gonna have about 50 feet of glass. We're gonna open up that solid wall, relieve it, so we have more pedestrian-friendly type of facade. We're gonna wrap that around, and at this corner right here, we're gonna look for a restaurant use. We're gonna have folding glass doors, folding garage doors, small ones, that will literally open up and put the public right into the center of this corner of this restaurant. With that, as Brian said, we're not adding square footage, we're not adding or subtracting from the parking. We are increasing the landscape by tripling it. There's about 300 square feet of landscaping, we're gonna wind up with about 900. The reason for that, there isn't more, is that we're trying to maintain the parking inside and not lose parking. We've been working with planning, we've been working with the city. We met with the homeowners association from Sherman. We presented the initial scheme, so we've worked pretty far to get where we are right now to present that to you. And we're looking for input tonight and direction, but more importantly is support as we finesse this project further downstream. The design is relatively selective, as I said. We're now using, you can imagine that entire building facade is all signs. If you can see it on the photograph, the architecture of that building is signs. You can literally cover the entire facade with 8-foot tall signs. About 1,400 square feet of signage. We're taking that down to 500 to stay compatibility with the specific plan. We are compatible with the specific plan. We're not stepping outside of that. We're not looking for variances. We're not looking for conditional use permits. We're not looking for modifications. So based on that, we're really fashioning the project and approach to stay within the confines of this specific plan. And in doing so, it allows us a little more flexibility and a little more opportunity to be more specific with regard to the design. Design is going to be more of an urban setting, as we talked about, pedestrian friendly. We're going to open up so people can actually walk through there. There's a covered canopy that now connects the entire building to the elbow and back. We're going to take the rear part of the building. I think you remember Blockbuster was in that back elbow of that. We're going to take that roof off and raise it about 8 feet. In order to do that, and the reason we're doing that is that the tenants that are interested in that space require a higher space. This building was built about 4 different times. It is a menagerie of structure, metal deck and concrete. I mean, it's a variety of different things, and it doesn't really work with the tenant's demand today. So what we're trying to do is, as Ryan said very adroitly, that we're trying to bring this thing up to speed so we can capture the best tenants out there. And in doing so, it does require us to do some things, but we're staying below the height limitation. Again, we're not breaching anything within the specific plan at all. I'm not asking for relief or modification. So in doing so, we've introduced some urban type of materials that you can see downtown, such as aluminum panels, and you'll see that in the material report, I think it's just going around. We have aluminum bond panels, they're aluminum composite panels. We're going to do a Mondrian type of style of design on the facade with insert colors to do that. We've got a hardwood facade mixed with that, going into plaster, then going into a porcelain tile that looks like stone, has a stone veneer finish to it. Come back into a Lucabond panels back here, back into the stone, back into the wood. Today, if you look around downtown, urban environments are really a complexity to them. We don't want to see something, we don't want to do a static facade, we want to do something dynamic. But most importantly, these type of elevations and design philosophies attract better tenants. And the tenants that are there generally like to step up. Not sure who the tenant mix is going to be, they're working on a variety of different tenants right now. But from our perspective as architects, we know in order to make this center live long, you don't want to make it trendy, but we want to do something that's relatively urban and contemporary today. And in doing so, putting on materials that will last. The wood that we're talking about is coral wood. It's chemically treated and it's plastic, and we have a warranty for 50 years on it. But again, limited amount of wood here, limited amount of wood on the corner. The idea is spice up the exterior elevation so it has those urban complexities to it, and it's dynamic, it's static. With the signs, we're trying to get people in there. This center is not pedestrian friendly at all. And in doing so, that's what we're trying to do, get that activity so people want to come to this and stay here. Outside of that, we have a lot of challenges with this building. From a structural standpoint of view, the things that have been deferred maintenance or roofing, we're going to take off the facade because we can't even hang on to it. It won't take the loads that we're presenting. So we're going to take the facade and put another facade on it and cover it with this particular material. And these materials are not inexpensive. Porcelain tile is not inexpensive. The Lucabon panels are not inexpensive. So the investment made by the festival should reflect in the quality of tenants and a better center for a long period of time. Again, not adding square footage, staying within the confines of the specific plan. We're not taking away from parking. We are increasing landscaping by threefold, going from 300 square feet to 900 square feet. We're reducing the signage by 62%. Because right now there's 1,400 square feet of signage, we're going from 500 square feet. Again, staying within the specific plan. Our goal tonight is to seek your input, and our goal tonight is to get your support on this so we can go further to the neighborhood council and make the presentation. Any questions so far?
On this one, yeah, we have public comments.
I may say also, all new glass, we would put in the aluminum mullions. There isn't anything that we're not replacing here, other than the parking lot. You can't touch the parking lot. So we're going to restripe it, reslurry it, restripe it, and maintain the parking that we have, and then add more landscaping. But you'll notice these ponds truly are on the landscape plan. Let's see, what else was there?
You wanna wrap it up, and then we got one public comment?
Absolutely, I'm done.
No, oh, you're done.
Sure, I'm done.
Okay, Charlotte Irons.
Thank you.
You're gonna have 2 minutes, Charlotte.
My name is Charlotte Irons, and my parents and I moved to Sherman Oaks in 1969 from West LA, and so that's 46 years here in Sherman Oaks. Ever since we moved here, we have used this center. It once had a Baskin Robbins, I remember, but we used everything in the center. And today, I am still a customer of FedEx and Greco's Pizza and that natural food store and Robix juices, and there's a hair shop there. And I only recently found out that Solly's was closing, and the loss of Solly's wasn't that upsetting because it's owned by Jerry's and they all have the same menu. They opened as a Jewish delicatessen, and if any of you saw our documentary a few weeks ago, Bagel Boy, Jewish delicatessens are folding all over the United States. I think in New York there were something like 1,500 or 5,000 or something. Now there's 200, and that's in New York. By closing Solly's Bakery, it's very difficult. A lot of people were upset, but nobody took it. I tried to take it a step further. By taking away Solly's Bakery, you're taking away the only really decent Jewish bakery in the East Valley and the communities along Ventura Boulevard. I had to go.
Finish up the thought.
Pardon?
Can you finish up the thought? Your
Okay,
time's up.
I just want to say, I had to go to Jerry's the other day, and I was talking to one of the guys in the deli, and he lives in West LA, and I needed something that you can't get anymore. And he said that he lives in West LA, and tomorrow he will pick up some of it at Cantor's Deli on Fairfax and bring it to me, and I'll go to Jerry's. So what I'm thinking is like, either we're gonna need a zip line from Campers to the corner of Laurel Canyon and Ventura, or we're out of luck, because I mean, when I moved here, there was Saul's, there was,
Thank you.
you get the idea.
Yeah.
We have lost a wonderful Jewish bakery, which could stand on its own, for
But
business.
that's not anything we have jurisdiction of.
I know, it's just that I'm expressing my displeasure at some of what's going on here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
David Rankel?
Question, I'm confused. Are they seeking entitlements or not on this? It looks.
Not that I'm aware of. We're talking about
Yeah.
changing.
We are.
I can answer speak to that for our team.
Hi, Neil Brower, yes.
Are you done, David?
Well, I just want to know what the entitlements are, because I've heard,
Did you have comments, or you want to wait until you hear, please?
well, I want to speak, but I'd rather wait till he.
Okay, why don't you hold that?
Because I just want to know what they're
Yeah,
asking.
yeah,
for the-
hold, we'll find out, and then you can come back.
We're going to ask for two things. First is project permit compliance, because we're in a specific plan area, and we have to have it for any project that comes in. And then the next is a project permit adjustment for the signage to allow a little more signage than is otherwise allowed. But again, signage is still being reduced by 62% overall.
But within your drawings, you don't really have any renderings or showing what your signage is going to be like any monument. I mean, there's that large pole right now. But
It's wall, the entitlements we're seeking are for the wall, or for the wall signage along the
Okay,
test.
and what are you gonna do with the totem pole? Is that on your property, or is that on the Gelson property?
The pole sign, that stays. It's not going anywhere. We change, switch the content out, but we don't need a permit to switch that.
So what you're telling us is you're asking for project, a permit compliance to reduce those signs by 60%, is that it?
Correct, yeah, project permit adjustment. So we're reducing the signage, but still requesting a little bit more than is allowed by right.
In other words, the original signage is out of compliance.
Yeah, it's
That's
legally,
why it's too much.
yeah, legally non-conforming.
And so,
They're still out of compliance, but it'll be less out of compliance than it is before.
We'll be 19%, roughly 19% over instead of 300%.
You don't have that in the master plan, that's not a request.
We have, yeah, it'll be a request. We haven't actually submitted the master line use yet. We have an appointment to do that at the end of the month. What we wanted to be before we submit this.
Okay, that was the one thing, then the other thing was, besides signage, was,
Just, we need a project permit compliance for any project within the specific plan area.
Okay.
And also for the tenants and improvements. Back to you.
So I would just like to throw out, I don't know what the plans are, I heard about Solly's, I got text messages about it going out of business or leaving. It is, I think, you guys want to be cautious in issuing a verdict, yea or nay, on the signage changes. Is it their intent to, how many other existing tenants, is it their intent to push out or opt not to renew their leases to allow for something like this to come in and potentially generate additional revenues on rental rates? And also, it looks interesting, but I hate to see too much change to Sherman Oaks and to existing businesses. There are businesses that have been there for many, many years that are mom and pop owned. And it's the desire or the overall intent to eliminate those existing businesses. You're basically greenlighting the extension of those businesses for something that's much sleeker and much differently designed than the existing mishmash, if you will, as the gentleman stated before, of what's currently there construction-wise. But I think you need to be cognizant of the fact that you just had a big part of Sherman Oaks leave, and what else is going to leave as a result of this intended redevelopment. Thank you.
Can we respond to that? Or?
yeah, I will just make one comment and respond to that, and that's that Ron Burkle billionaire, is not a mom and pop business, and he's the owner of Jerry's and Sally's.
Don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm generally in favor of what you're doing, but I have some questions. I have to do the aesthetics and landscaping. The biggest problem I have when I look at this rendering is the Van Nuys Boulevard edge. You have no planting there at all. And you certainly have an opportunity to do that if you take your compact stalls and line up along there, the compact stalls, pull back to your line of what is showing full-size stalls there, 5, 6, and 7. You can get yourself a few feet of planting, and that would really improve the whole aesthetic as you see it from one of our major boulevards.
We agree. That study was made, however, because the parking was sort of tight, but right on code allowed backup and so forth. When we approached the planning department, we had a 5-foot planter there, and we had to forfeit 2 to 3 parking stalls to make that happen. Because the backup, the 5-foot planter, would take up part of our backup. So you can imagine, we'll lose 2 stalls right in that center area, and 1 along the side. The question posed to planning, what would be better? Hanging on to as much parking as we can, or providing planning?
Yeah, but if you look at your parking, we have parking stalls, 5, 6, and 7 full-size stalls. So they're 18 feet deep. Next to that, 1, 2, 3, and 4
Right,
are only 15 foot.
We are compact.
Okay, hold on. If you pull those compact spaces so that they're in line with the drive aisle of 5, 6, and 7, you have now 3 feet of planting in front of them. And if you take some of your compact stalls you have over here and replace 5, 6, and 7 with some compact stalls here and do these palm trees like the other palm trees are done, then you can get a whole length of facade of street frontage as landscape.
There were probably 40 studies done.
Do one more. I'm going to set that. Sorry, I'm going to set that.
I'll answer the question.
Okay, you can do that. You can do one, you can do the others. Now, back into, to different from the ownership.
Yeah.
Your statement was that you own the project. You own the property or just the project?
The property.
Okay, so you own the whole thing. So
Yes,
where
we
is
own the land and the building, so
Okay,
it was,
but
there were separate
talking
ownerships
about-
until last year.
You're talking about the separation is that you own the project. or just-
Yeah, sorry, but we own the property.
Then aesthetically, when you get back, you look at your rendering, and you're strong at Van Nuys Boulevard. You're strong when you go to the dark wood going to the east. You're strong over on your turn of your L, it's not showing here on this. But it gets really messy in the corner, right in that elbow. I can't tell what's happening. You pull out a blonde wood that's not on the sample board. Okay, so this is okay. But you call it a lighter wood here. And in your rendering, there's no contrast here, so it looks wow. It's just not working for me. And then you have a higher parapet on your corner element that's back here. And I can't tell how far that higher wall goes. Does this go a couple feet past this facade? This corner is very disturbing. It's just not working. We have strength at your ends. The middle, where you want to draw a big tenant, has no appeal. But like exactly what as well. So the landscaping along the boulevard has to change. And then this corner should be better, with my comments.
I have a question.
Yes, go for it.
I agree on the landscape. You're not thinking of taking out the street trees, right?
No.
Okay, so that's just for us to see that there's that sidewalk and the cars parked on the street, but there are still street trees there.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I feel, first of all, you can't help but have noticed what Gelson's has done. And that is a very welcoming nicely landscaped spot. I find this totally lacking in any greenery, and I would not even go in there. And I feel that whereas I appreciate the concept, and you're the professionals in shopping centers and all of that, you keep using the term urban. But this is Sherman Oaks. It is a suburban community. And whereas we do like some upgrades, and I think that you have the ability to make the upgrades, I don't think this looks like it fits at all. And I especially don't think it looks like it fits with what Gilson's has just so handsomely done. So I'm wondering if it couldn't be made a little softer, a little greener, a little something. I mean, it looks like it's only going to attract a certain level of customer and not the community. It looks like it belongs on Melrose or something. And the other thing, that I'm concerned about is, I don't know, I didn't count, I don't know the exact number of businesses that are there. Are we talking about the same number of businesses? So the storefronts will still be the same number of businesses?
We're still just starting our process of approval. It's hard for us to make any decisions on long-term basis.
No, the reason I'm concerned.
We don't really know exactly yet how many.
Well, you're
exactly
evidently on the parking, you said you've got the 81 spaces, whereas actually if you were coming in as a new project, you would have to have a lot more.
Well, yeah, we're trying to do the best we can. We didn't build the center, so it's not an easy solve. We're just trying to maintain as much what we have, and we always try to have as much landscaping as we can. We agree with you. We only have what we have, and nothing else is a lot more to work with.
But also on what I'm talking about, the reason I was concerned about how many tenants are gonna be is if there are more businesses coming in, which you don't know yet, I understand, I get it. But if there are more coming in, and yet we are operating under the parking of what's existing, which is inadequate now, but it's to existing rules, but is existing. Are we gonna see, a lot more going on as far as like bringing in more traffic on them? It's just a concern that I have. And the other concern I have when Jeff references that corner, and you say that potential tenant needs a higher ceiling, a height, and I'm wondering why. Is that somebody?
Yeah, I can speak to that. That space has been vacant a long time, a lot longer than even before we owned it.
Right.
And we're just, and Matthew can speak to that too. We've been trying, we're just trying to address concerns we're getting from potential tenants. We don't want a vacancy there. They're just saying, hey, we need customers
Well,
to
are we
see us.
talking about like maybe a gym?
No,
Facility?
not a retail store. Just
a plain
keeping
retail
keeping the same use as our retail store.
Right now, if you've ever been into Blockbuster, it's very deep, it's dark, there's no windows, and the whole key to success of any retail project, and I've been involved with the last one we just did in Sherman Oaks with Mendocino Farms and Islands, that was a project that we did, is you want to create a good emotional experience. That's what it's all about. And when you walk in that space, it's claustrophobic, there's no reason to want to go in there or stay in there. So regardless of what use goes in there, we've had a lot of gyms, and the gym is not the right use for the center. It's not what we're looking for at all. Is you want to have some volume and some height to feel comfortable, the same way you would do in a parking structure. And that's the reason it's being looked at.
I mean, everybody in the room knows what Blockbuster is, we've been there for years,
Right.
so.
I used to do that on North Valley Drive.
Yeah, we've been around for a long time.
The ceiling in there is also very low.
My main concern is I know you're walking a fine line and you guys are the experts, but I don't feel very compelled to go in there. And I think that you just need some more shade, some more something, maybe some, rather than palm trees, you need some shade trees in the parking lot or something. It's just very cold tonight.
One issue I can address, you mentioned is, it's the number of tenants is not the direct correlation to parking, it's the type of use of tenants.
Right.
Because you can have some tenants that are very small that have a lot of volume, and you can have large ones that don't have a lot of volume. FedEx, by size, should have a lot more volume of traffic than they do. Also, their traffic is 24/7. So their business is spread out versus other tenants that have specific hours, like a dry cleaner. So we're very cognizant of it because the key to the success of a shopping center is the success of the tenants. And And so and your comment is very well addressed, because that's something that I haven't taken into consideration as it existing tenants. Also to address the other gentleman's comments, we're actually working hard to keep the tenants that want to be there, and we're actually giving lower rents to some existing tenants than we could get from new tenants.
That's reassuring.
And it's I grew up, I picked up a dune buggy at Hughes when I went to hockey practice in 1970.
Other, yes, Jackie?
You know, it is, you don't have very much parking for if everybody's got people coming and driving, but it's very walkable. And I agree with what Mike was saying, the Gelson's lot, they have a bigger space, but having those trees makes it a little easier when it's hot or something. You want to walk through it. Getting into your center is just not walker friendly. And so I guess if there's some way that, and obviously you've really worked your traffic here, but I might be able to walk from there in over to here. I've got to walk all the way around and
That's just by this inherent in the design of just the way the center is.
and that's the only one that works.
It's the only way, otherwise you're walking through a parking lot and you're risking your own safety. So, but right now, the difference is you can't walk from the corner of Van, right on the corner spot, all the way through, and you have to go walk around it. And when you do, it's not, it's dreary, it's not inviting.
It's not a pleasant place.
No, it is not. And so we're working on raising it, raising the elevations even with the storefronts above the eyebrow. It'll bring up the energy, it'll bring your eye up higher, it'll make it much more comfortable. Because that's what, once again, all the tenants want that, because we all want to sit outside, we all want to be in a place where there's good energy, not depressing. And that's what the whole intent of the design is. So your points are very well taken.
We widen that entry off the sidewalk to about 8 feet. Right now, there isn't anything. You have to walk behind ballards, raised concrete masses. Now there'll be a straight shot, which is ADA accessible ramp from the sidewalk down the face of the building, and then you're going to go into the covered canopy that will take you all the way around in the shade. So that covered canopy is staying.
Okay, to pick up on what my colleague was just saying, you're talking too much. The design's not working if you have to talk this much. You have to get your design better. People don't say it's not inviting when it's inviting. It's not.
And your example would be the Gelson.
No, that would not be my example.
What would you, what's,
That was, just this thing magic. There's some nice things happening. Landscape is not inviting, and then going back in that corner.
Is there somebody down here, and then, I have something, but
Well, I just
go
say-
first, go.
No, I had mentioned to you, and I just wanted everybody to know that I have to recuse myself because of a conflict of interest, so
Yeah,
I'm not going to comment.
okay. Sue?
On positives, I like the brick pavers, that's a good impervious paving around there, I think that helps a little bit. But I'm afraid with everybody else too, I wanna like it because it is so hideous now that I wanna poke my eyes out when I drive by. But, so I wish you had ripped it down and built mixed use, I would have been thumbs up to that. I mean, right now, this is so 1950s, a big huge surface parking lot and these little stores with lots of signs and stuff way back there, it's a pointless waste of space. That said, I see, thank you for trying, this is head and shoulders above what we have now, but I do think, and I like the corner, like you guys are doing on that corner there, yes, I think that's great, but I have to agree, it leaves me very lukewarm as far as, I wouldn't go there. But, and I don't mind the urban thing, but it does miss its mark, and it's too bad, because, we obviously put a ton of work into it. And I think we should also need to address the sign issue. If we want to let them do an adjustment of 20% more than what they would allow under the specific plan. Again, I'm sort of conflicted. I don't like signs. That Russian hair thing is driving me crazy. That big huge sign on the other side. Remember that? That one that says Russian hair, and you can see it from the other side from Van Nuys. It really, how can you get away with that? It's like 1,000 feet long. And your problem also, I was looking at this, is that behind this, you have your public storage, you don't show it on this. And then they have all their signs up. And I assume that that's all legitimate because of the street frontage, and they probably get that, that's probably a legitimate amount of signs, I don't know. But so, I'm loath to say, yeah, you should go ahead and get 20% more sign space when, as a pedestrian, you're still also then looking at the public storage signs as well. So, given the morass of sign problems that you have then, so that would be my only concern, is so I would not support the adjustment either.
Can I ask a follow-up on that?
Sure.
With respect to the public storage, what, given that's not on our property, I'm not
Yeah.
sure, what can we, how can we,
It's-
I'm not sure what we could do about that.
Ask
or
your
how we
lawyer
can
to
analyze
figure
that.
out if they're in compliance with the thing, if they're not, get it changed.
Okay.
That's what I would do, but, yeah, you're right, and I'm sorry, like I said, I appreciate the fact that you're here and improving this, because it is a mess.
Chair, if I could throw this up for a challenge. Part of our challenge with the signage, this site is 300 feet. The sign requirement, or the sign allotment, is predicated on the width of the property. So we have a very short width. So we're somewhat penalized because the site is so deep. And we're trying to get the signage to show from the street, so the tenants that are going back, the signs are small. So that's why we're asking for 20% relief and 19% relief. Because the centers, the site, the logistic, the actual existing conditions dictate that we're gonna want to do a small sign. So we talked about the success of these tenants, smaller tenants, small mom and pop tenants. The signage is phenomenal.
Right.
So that's the struggle, and that's why, even though we have a monument sign out there, that's
Well,
relatively
I think your
small.
larger signs would be fine if you had a good design there that was cohesive. But it's still, I mean, it's a cleaned up version of what's there, but it doesn't give me any more greenery. It doesn't really feel like I've arrived someplace. I've arrived this group of little boxes.
I don't have the same issues with the design as some of the other members of my committee, but I do kind of agree that that back corner, maybe there should be some more, you know, I'm not an architect, but some more contrast or something, because I do agree with Jack's comment that that's kind of an interesting part of the design. But I think more landscaping would actually go a long way, and I know that you're trying to keep your parking, probably speaking with Jennifer Drive.
Yeah.
And I know that, you know, she doesn't want you to lose parking, but, you know, I think in this case, it may be worthwhile to look at what you can do, even losing some parking. This is a very, very walkable area. I walk there all the time, and I think that you would find a lot of customers coming to walk to the facility and
Jackson?
as important as this is not.
Alicia, I'm sorry. Actually, Jennifer isn't there anymore. She left last week.
Is that right?
She is, yeah, she is working for one of the centers in Woodland Hills now.
Okay.
And they have a brand new lady in charge of,
Specific one?
specific plan, yeah. Her name, I think her name was Courtney, I'm not sure. But she's Jennifer's replacement.
Courtney, there's two of them now.
At any rate,
Courtney Lum, I believe.
I don't know. Anyway, my comment is quite the same as you've heard already. My field is retail. If I was gonna take that corner spot, I would die in there.
Which corner?
All the way in, yeah.
Wait.
You need to do something to brighten it up, to funnel the center into that corner. Otherwise, the only tenants that will do you any good in there are tenants that are gonna bring the customers from a long distance. And I don't know that you can get them with that size unit.
Let me ask a question for you. If we're able to, I mean, if there are certain tenants, there's a shortage of space in the marketplace, in a larger space. So there are destination-oriented tenants that are comfortable going there, that are of high quality and of high credit, that are and are very comfortable with that space. So I understand what you were saying in many cases, that you've got to be, as an investor, you've got to be very cognizant, because that's 30% of your shopping, 25% of the shopping center. So, given what we know about the marketplace here and the tenants that are there, we're comfortable with the design. I understand you want to change, you want to make it a little softer, a little more user-friendly, I think is the term you use. And traditionally, I would agree with you if it's a really bad level of space. But this works in the raising the ceiling and the frontage that the tenant gets, they're comfortable with.
We do have interest. We have a lot of interest on the whole center. We have
The-
a lot of interest.
But I understand what you're saying.
The other comment about it, again, from a retail point of view, you've got two types of landscaping you can do there. And my apologies to Rick if I'm saying things that are not politically correct. You can go with palm trees because they're up out of the way and you can see the signs.
Right.
And that's great for a retailer. From my point of view, living in the neighborhood, to have palm trees at one end of that retail center and have what Gelson's has at the other end doesn't make sense. You could have something that is partway in between, that's bushy and green,
Doesn't block the sun.
that doesn't block the signs and just softens up that whole area and makes it comfortable. As far as parking, that doesn't bother me because you have the right to have your customers park at one end of the lot in front of Gelson's or all the way next to Best Buy and walk over. So that's not an issue, but you need to make it inviting so that they will get out of the car and walk. It gets hot there in the summer day. You have to make it appealing to walk over there, have some nice shady, bushy things so that it looks comfortable all the way.
I mean, isn't part of the requirement for putting the trees down in parking lots for shade? And palm trees give no shade. I mean, we've got them as part of our streetscape plan here in Sherman Oaks on the Boulevard, and they're kind of a statement tree, harkening to the past of the valley and whatever, but the reality is that we need shade. I
That's
mean,
why the landscape architect was really good, really was put together two broadleaf trees
go home.
with each one of the palm trees.
That doesn't give anybody any shade or anything. I understand the rationale for being able to see signage. But frankly, if the right tree is selected and they don't get chopped down, they will grow above the sign. And then you will have some sort of grace there. I mean, it's what you heard earlier tonight from the community.
That's the word I needed, that's what's missing, grace.
Well, that's what you heard from the community tonight. They're taking away our trees, they're taking away our landscaping. And
What about the
it's-
water?
well,
Water
that's,
and brown.
I can't bring in water. But what we're looking for is some shade and some comfort and some relief and a little bit of a welcoming vibe. And I think this probably will look great, as I said, in another area. I don't see this as fitting in with Sherman Oaks at all, so.
Can I just ask, aren't you required to provide more trees in the parking lot?
Can you speak to the landscaping?
We're not changing the footprint of the building.
And so that's what triggers it, the adjustment itself doesn't trigger it?
No, not for the signage, just the footprint of the building.
Okay, that's what I mean.
But you could voluntarily make it greener.
Yeah, we
Right,
absolutely, we absolutely want to take
landscaping,
some.
absolutely.
We're always battling the input from tenants that have other signs blocked, but I agree, we can look at some other options.
Yeah, and if I was back there, I'd say palm
balance
tree,
the two.
palm tree would look better than a whatever.
And don't use any water though.
Yeah.
Plastic, plastic. We just have little.
It's on the right track, but I think that the big turnoff for me is just the signage, and I know you've probably, just done some renderings, and it's not exactly what's gonna go in there, but, I just think that it just doesn't have any cohesiveness to it. That it just looks like it's been cleaned up, and that's about it. That's the best you want.
Yeah, I mean, our goal is to do a really high, we're spending, it's a several $1 million budget, this is not just a paint and stucco project.
Right.
I mean, we're trying to avoid a monument, I've seen some centers that it's just stucco straight across, same color, which we were trying to make it dynamic, as Richard said. I mean, this is I can tell you because I'm the one running the numbers. It's not a cheap project. I mean, we're shopping center owners. We're not mixed-use developers. This center couldn't have been bought to be torn down. It was way too expensive. And we bought it as shopping center owners, long-term owners. We hear you tonight that we're not there yet. We'd like to come back to you, but I mean, we're very committed and we're making a major investment. And Matthew hasn't talked about. We have a lot of interest. I mean, it really speaks to the strength of this market and the lack of availability. I mean, we have very high-quality restaurants and retail stores that you're going to like that are very interested in this project. But we obviously can't make deals yet because we haven't have approvals yet, but we have a lot of interest in this.
I'm dying to try Yahina.
Try the what?
But I would say one thing from a design standpoint, we understand it needs to be a little more perhaps traditional, inviting, pretty contemporary. But I've challenged, look at Van Nuys Boulevard. It is an eclectic boulevard. It is morphing. As we speak, next 10 years, it's going to change dramatically. There's man on Venture Boulevard. This might be a year in front of it, 2 years in front of it, but you're going to see more of this. This is what the parents are looking for. Something that is contemporary, something that is current. You look at
No problem with the contemporary.
Yeah.
I didn't think we're saying traditional.
I just want to make sure.
No.
We're not saying traditional.
It's just not all this.
And what you've got to do with your tenants is to pick tenants that are going to be dealing with the customers of 10 years from now, not the customers of today. What I can tell you is about 67% of the population in this area is past working age. Over the next 10 years, a good portion of them are going to be replaced with younger families. And you have to find a way of working with them. You've got to find a way of dealing with the traffic problem of that 10-year future, because it's going to be far different than the traffic problem of today.
Do you feel you have some direction that gives you something to work with?
Yeah, you love it.
I keep measuring it against what's there. and
Yeah.
No comparison.
But the reality is that having parked there and gone to Sally's and some of the stores, in the summertime, when it's just hot. You know, it's just open and it's a big parking lot and you got all that slurry, put up the heat, something that, you know, make it feel cool would be great.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
the input.
Thank you.
Can I ask, can we be agendized for next month? I assume we'll be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can put you for next month, and then we're full for next month. We got 4 projects. And we may end up going somewhere else because we can't put a crowd this size in this room anymore. That was a problem we had tonight. We were told that we had to do something to move people out faster. They were gonna move them out because we had a fire violation.
Room for how many people?
60 to 70.
Yeah, but there had to be 150 people.
They just need to not have a hearing on the ICO.
That's a start.
I think we gotta do that on a separate night, but, yeah, if you've got a space
I'm
we
just wondering
can
if you
use.
the Sherman's Galleria that you plan it as a community room.
It's
Something else there.
small. Yeah, it's
But
small.
maybe there's some space there that we can make it.
One of the theaters.
Sorry?
One of the theaters.
Yeah.
It's approved.
It serves liquor.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Let's do that, all 17 screens.
Is there any committee business?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
You watch Civic State.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, that's it tonight.
put your charging battery in there.
Thank you so much. And your name?
David.
David. And your camera's still running. I just kind of lifted it out.
Good night, gentlemen.
Contact me sometime,
Okay,
David.
will do. Thank you.
Huh? Good. Yeah. So what city do you live in?
Granada Hills.
Okay, so you're Valley.
Yeah. But,
I just had to ask one of the board members one question.
well, now that the meeting's over, I can come back in, actually.
I don't understand what the problem is.